Welcome. This is day one of One World Tantra Festival. And this is the call on taking turns, the magic of taking turns. My name's Betty Martin. I'm a whore. I'm a sacred intimate. I've been a sex worker for a number of years. I'm mostly retired now. I'm a former chiropractor. I retired from chiropractic about 15 years ago when I started becoming a whore instead. And my work with coaching people and helping people learn how to touch led to the Wheel of Consent. And so that's what we're going to talk about some today. And I've developed that and I'm just finishing up a book on it. And most of what I do these days is train and mentor other practitioners, hands-on practitioners, as well as some hands-off practitioners. And that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about helping people learn how to notice what they want, how to trust it, how to value it, and how to communicate it. So we're going to play with that a little bit today. And before we do that, some agreements. As you noted, this is being recorded. Please do not record it on your computer. It's being recorded for the use of the Tantra Festival. Also, I said keep your camera on, please. If you don't want to be seen, turn your camera to the side. And you'll be muted. And if we're talking and answering questions and stuff, you can unmute yourself. And keep your clothing on. And when speaking, there'll be time when you're sharing about your experience. And so I ask that you talk about your own experience and not speculate about someone else's experience. You're welcome to leave at any time. You won't hurt my feelings. I can't actually see all of you at the same time anyway. And my understanding is that since it's being recorded, then you have access to it for a week or month or whatever it is. And if people come in late, we will allow that to happen. And I'm going to ask Daniela, if you will, if someone comes in late after now, will you please message them the agreements that we just went over so that they'll be on the same page? Any questions about any of that? And also, please, thank you for being patient with us with getting our tech scene all going here. Okay, so please type in where you're from. I'm from Seattle, so I'm going to put that. Luxembourg, Boston, Washington, D.C., Manchester. Oh my gosh, look at that. Tel Aviv, Connecticut, Oakland, Brussels, Norway, London, Madrid, Pennsylvania. This is fabulous. Oh my gosh. That is fabulous. Berlin, Sacramento. Oh, that's great. Austria, Honduras, Glastonbury, Belgium, Mexico, Poland, Berkeley. That is great. Thank you. Just gave me a little rush there. South Africa. Fantastic. Cape Town. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, taking turns. First, I want to say that even though this is a Tantra festival, I don't actually know very much about Tantra. I am not a Tantra student, or certainly not a Tantra teacher. What little I do know comes from the lineage of Rudy Ballantine in the US, and is a more traditional approach as opposed to a neo-tantra approach. But I think what we're going to talk about and experiment with today about taking turns is applicable because it's applicable to all of life. So what do I mean when I say taking turns, and why bother? By taking turns, well, let's start out with a couple of definitions of want to and willing to. So want to means something that I want to do that's for me. It may or may not involve anybody else, but it's all about me. So I maybe want to put my hand up your shirt, or I might want to take a nap, or I might want a sandwich. It's just about me. And I'm hoping that you are also willing to do that with me. If I want to put my hand up your shirt, I hope that you're willing to let me do that. That's want to. Willing to refers to something that I wouldn't otherwise choose for myself, but I'm willing to because you want to. So you want me to scratch your back, I'm willing to do that. I wouldn't otherwise do it, maybe, but I'm willing to do it if that's what you want. Or maybe you want me to go for a walk with you, or you want to talk about sports racing, and I don't, but I'm willing to do it for you. So I think it's useful to understand the difference, because sometimes it's time to put our own wants first. And sometimes it's times to put our own wants aside and go with what the other person wants. But most important, it's important to be able to tell the difference. Because if I am completely out of touch with what I want, then I'm going to be in my willing to all the time. So I'm always willing to do what you want to do, but I've forgotten how to want something that I want. Does this ring a bell for anybody? Raise your hand if you've been here. Yeah, I've been there. So yeah, difference between want and willing. So when we take turns, it means that for one turn, it's my turn to be in my want, and you'll be in your willing. And then we'll switch, and it's your turn to be in your want, and I'll be in my willing. And which is essentially what receiving and giving is. When I'm receiving a gift, I'm in what I want, and hopefully you're in what you're willing. And when I'm giving a gift, it's about what you want and what I'm willing to do. And so that's the quick and easy definition of receiving and giving. You notice that it doesn't have to do with who's doing. What I want may be to get your hands on me. I may want a back scratch or a shoulder rub or a foot rub or something. Or it may be that what I want is to get my hands on you. I want to put my hands up your shirt. I want to run my hands through your hair. So giving and receiving, as I'm using the words, is not about who's doing. It's about who it's for. And that little distinction right there is what the wheel of consent is all about. The difference between who it's for and who's doing. I can do something that I want to you, or I can ask you to do something that I want to me. And either way, it's for me. So that's the starting place. So why does that matter? If my hands are on your back and we both want my hands on your back, then what's the problem? Who cares? The difference is that with my hands going up your back, at some point, my hand's going to want to go this way, and you want my hand to go this other way. Which way is it going to go? And that's where it begins to matter. If I'm doing it for you, it's what you want, then I'm going to follow your request and go with, you want my hand to go this way? Okay, we'll go this way. If it's for me, if I'm feeling up your back and you are allowing me to do that, then my hand goes where my hand wants to go. And so, so that's a part of why it makes a difference. But the other reason it makes a difference is because it changes how our hearts experience what we're doing. Does anyone notice that it's hard sometimes to ask for what you want? Anybody notice this? Yeah. Why? Let's see. I think you can unmute yourselves. So I have never worked with a group this large, so I can't see all of you. But I think if you raise your hand, push the little raise hand button there, then I can call on you. And I'd like to hear from a few people why it's hard to ask for what you want. David?
Risk of rejection, the discomfort of what the response might be.
Yes, yes. Who else? Why else might it be hard to ask for what you want? Olga?
Yeah, it could be humiliating if it's so out of the scope of what the other person's comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I might want something that you think is really weird.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Teresa?
Hello. You might feel like you don't deserve it.
Yeah. Anybody been there?
Yeah, feel like that you're being selfish or that you don't deserve to have the things that you want.
Yeah, yeah. There's also some things going in the chat, not being clear on what we want. Fear of appearing selfish. Oh yeah, that's a good one. And Victoria?
You might not trust that the person is saying yes and not just being a martyr and going to hit you with it later.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Dan and Zoe?
Yeah, so I might believe that I really need to put all my energy into giving you what you want in order for me to get love.
Yes. Anyone else been there? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I have to justify my existence on the planet by give, which is a great reason why it's so powerful to receive when it's our turn to receive. Irena?
What if I'm not going to enjoy it? How's the other one going to feel then?
Ah, right, right. Yeah. So yeah, all kinds of reasons we have for not asking for what we want. Audra?
Some of us have overarching abuse trauma where it was literally unsafe growing up to have wants and needs. And so we learn to be needless.
Yeah. Yeah. We just learn not to have any needs. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or not to voice them, that it doesn't matter.
Not to voice them. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes to forget how to know what they are.
Definitely.
Yeah. 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 Great. Let's see if I see any more hands. I don't. Okay. So the one that a couple of turns back, somebody said, because I think my life depends on, or closeness depends on, give, 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 which can be a strong reminder of why we need to have a turn to receive, because it breaks our heart open. It breaks our heart open, which is, I mean, you know, you'll get a great foot rub or whatever you're asking for. But really, we need a turn to receive because it breaks our heart open. It shows us that we matter. It shows us that somebody cares. It shows us that we're worthy. It shows us that we, in a certain way, it shows us that we exist and that we're worthy. And it shows us that we're safe. And it brings us gratitude. And gratitude, the problem with gratitude is that if you feel enough of it, you will cry. The key word being enough. So have you had times when you had so much gratitude that you cried? Yeah, yeah. And so it's really simple. If you don't want to cry, just don't put yourself in a position to have any gratitude, and your problem is solved. You won't cry. So taking turns means you have a turn to receive what you want, which means you have to get vulnerable enough to ask for it. And you have a turn to set aside what you want and give what someone else wants within your limits, within your boundaries. And that it's taking those apart that breaks our hearts open. And we have experiences when we take them apart that are possible no other way. If you think of a time, perhaps when you were on the massage table and maybe you were getting a wonderful, luscious touch, it's exactly what you needed, and it just brought tears to your eyes. You were so thankful, or it was so pleasurable, or maybe with the lover who was pleasuring you, or some other way that you got to be the center of attention. There's places you can go emotionally and spiritually that you can go no other way. You can only go there when you are not also trying to give something in return. Is this making sense? Have you had this experience? Yeah. I'm going to have to keep scrolling through the pages here and see hands that are up and stuff. Is this making sense, experiences that you've had? Yeah, great. So that's the short answer to why take turns. Because number one, you have experiences that are possible no other way. And number two, it breaks your heart open. That's really it. Yeah, thoughts, comments, questions about that so far, and then we're going to talk about how to actually go about it. Receiving, I'm reading, or please, be able to give them to myself because the full pleasure and safety comes from receiving. I'm not sure what that means. If Audra, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, so you're all familiar with Amrita orgasm, female ejaculation. And for me, I haven't been able to reach them on my own. I took a whole course and learned the technique for myself, and I've only been able to have them with a partner because there's a sense of safety and receptivity that I only go into that full relaxation and surrender if someone is holding space or if I'm being witnessed. And I haven't gotten there on my own yet.
Yeah, beautiful. Great example. Yeah. Other people, anybody else want to share an example? We'll take a couple more of examples of times when you have been able to receive something very deeply and how it changed for you.
Betty, as a cuddlist, I thought it was all about giving touch
Uh-huh.
until I learned that it was also about receiving touch and being able to receive touch
Ah,
and
yeah.
being able to be vulnerable and understand where the other person was coming from.
Yeah. 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 Hmm.
Also,
Um,
orgasmic meditation,
Mm-hmm.
really good oming, a really good practice for
Oh,
just being
yeah.
fully in receptive
Yeah.
mode or giving mode. And it's very
Yeah.
clear and the boundaries are very clear. And then you get to really fully relax into that.
Yeah. And what besides the sensation itself, what happens in you when you can take in that gift?
It expands for me, it expanded my container, like the amount of pleasure that your body is able to receive.
Yeah.
It's bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
What you think you deserve.
Yes. Bingo. Yeah. Yeah. When I first started playing with this, I came into it through the 3-minute game with Harry, which it was invented by Harry Faddis, which is essentially, what do you want to do to me for 3 minutes, and what do you want me to do to you for 3 minutes? And you can see all that on my website, bettymartin.org. But what really, and so it was mostly about touch, and there was some cool things that happened. It was really fun, and some things got more clear, and it was really great. But what really began to touch me was how life-changing it is to become vulnerable enough to ask for what you want and to receive it, to actually have it, and that the results of it were far beyond the experience of the moment. That's what actually surprised me about it, and the integrity that came with being able to ask for what you want. Because for one thing, when you ask for what you want, you might hear a no. Well, holy shit. So now now that's also really vulnerable. Yeah. As I said, in the wheel of consent, the distinction is between who is doing and who it's for. So I might have my hands on your back, for example, but if it's for you, it's one experience, and if it's for me, it's for a different experience. It creates a different experience in both of us. And what's this whole idea of taking, receiving, and giving apart, the wheel of consent is a practice of taking, receiving, and giving apart, so that you are doing only one of them at a time. You are completely giving within your boundaries, or you're completely receiving. It's all about you. It doesn't replace your life. It doesn't mean that you want to live your whole life that way. It doesn't mean that, okay, I have to always be doing one or always be doing the other. There are times when you just want to hang out in the middle and take a walk or make love or, eat dinner together or whatever you're doing. So it's not always receive and give. I think it's important to know that, particularly if you've been exposed to the wheel and you've tried it and it's exciting, you think, oh my gosh, everything fits here, and it actually doesn't. There is a place in the middle where you're neither giving or receiving. You're not going with what you want. No one's putting aside what they want. You're just hanging out. And that's a very important life skill. But the problem is that if you can't take them apart, you can't really put them together either, because what you end up doing is going along with what the other person wants, because you don't know how to put yourself first. And so you think, okay, we're going to do this real cool thing in the middle. And I think in my experience in working with a lot of people who study Tantra, is that a lot of what's taught in the West in Tantra these days is about finding that place in the middle where there's sort of a merging energy, and it's kind of this mystical swirl. And that's great. And there is something different to be learned when you take them apart. There's something different to be learned when you take them apart. And I'm not saying either one is better, it's just different. Yeah, I think that's the end of my soapbox on taking, receiving, and giving apart by taking turns. I would like to play with it a little bit. And I think how I would like to play with it is this. We're going to divide up into breakout rooms of 3 people each. And you'll take turns. So breakout rooms work like this. You'll be invited to go into a breakout room. You can either accept the invitation or not. If you don't want to be in a breakout room, and they'll be random, so I don't know, have any idea who you'll be with. If you don't want to be in a breakout room, you'll stay here in the main room where I am. You're going to ask the other people to witness you in however you want to be witnessed. So maybe you want to talk about something that's been on your mind, or maybe you want to dance, or maybe you want to stretch, or maybe you want to show a painting that you just did, or maybe you want to brag about something that you just learned that you got really great. Yeah. So you'll each have about 3 minutes to do that. And Daniela will set the timer so that you'll be notified when that's 3 minutes. And then the other person will have a turn, and then the third person will have a turn. So one of you will ask the question, what would you like me to witness for you? And then the other person will say, will you, I would like to talk about my day, or I would like to show off this new dress I just made, or I would like to dance and be witnessed. And then the original person will then decide, is that something that I can give with a full heart? We're going to demo this in just a minute. And if it is, you go ahead and do that. And then you'll switch, then you'll take turns. And then you'll talk about what you noticed about that. And then we'll switch again. So then you'll ask, what would you like me to do in service to you? And you can have them dance, you can have them sing, you can have them touch themselves, then you're the director. And then you'll take turns with that. Is this making sense? So Daniela, can you, or let's see, Jojo, can you demo with me? I want to leave Daniela to do the tech stuff.
Sure.
Okay, so we are going to try this recording, and hopefully you'll have it spliced into the other one, because the recording stopped at the wrong time. So I'm Betty Martin. This is my friend Jojo Bear, who's graciously agreed to demo this with me. So this is, we're going to demo taking turns, and you'll see how it goes. So Jojo, what do you want me to witness for you? And we'll take about 2-minute turns. What would you like me to witness for you? So in this example, I'm going to be giving him the gift of my attention, and he'll use it how he wants.
Okay. Betty, would you be able to witness me doing my rowing practice? And I'm going to be standing up, and I'm just going to be rowing and breathing.
And then I'm going to pause and consider, is this a gift that I can give with a full heart? And yes, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to set the clock.
Okay.
About 15 seconds left.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. Do you want me to share what I noticed, or
Sure.
do you
Yeah.
want us? Yeah. I felt. I noticed that I was. I felt really honored that you could watch me doing one of my favorite practices that I do, and yeah, I just really appreciated that. So thank you for. That was really intimate for me.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed myself wondering what your experience was. Yeah, because it looked like you were kind of internal and having your own experience. And so I was just kind of wondering what that was. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'm going to ask you the same question. What would you like me to witness for you?
I want to just move and shake and make noise and kind of go crazy for a minute. Were you willing to do that?
Yeah, I can witness you do that.
Okay, I'm gonna start the timer. Oh, ugh. I got a little frazzled on that call because a couple things didn't work quite right, but that's okay. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Mm. Ugh. Oh. Oh. My butt is really tired of sitting. I just want to get outside. Oh. Ah. Oh. I've noticed I'm laughing because I feel self-conscious. Oh. Oh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I noticed I feel a little self-conscious, and that's why the laughter, comes up. It's like it's a little embarrassing, but yeah. And it also feels, I appreciate having your witness. There's something that's different about doing it alone and being witnessed. That's just, it's just good. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed how much joy that I was getting when you would laugh, but I also was noticing how much you needed to release some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some release.
Yeah.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay, next question. What do you want me to do for you? So on this question, I'm going to be doing, but instead of it being for me, it's going to be for JoJo's benefit. What would you like me to do for you?
I would love for you to talk to me about your scarf, where you got it, all of the stuff, so that piece around your neck. I'm curious. I would love to hear about that.
Okay, I'll do that. This scarf came to me from a friend who died. She was my age, and she had a lot of health difficulties from small childhood. Her name was Kate, and she died last year. And she, at her memorial service, she was a real collector of all kinds of weird stuff. And at her memorial service, they had set out several long tables of things of hers for people to take. books and games and jewelry and clothes, and I picked this up. And she was also a kind of a sci-fi geek and a gamer, and she taught my kids how to play Dungeons and Dragons when they were growing up. And so this is, I think it's linen. It's kind of a loose weave. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a little bit of a rough texture. And I like to wear it because it gives me just a little bit of warmth without being too hot. And now that I'm an old lady, I tend to get cold back here. So I like to have something. I discovered why old ladies always wear shawls, because it gets cold back here. So it keeps them warm. And that's the story of my shawl. And time is up.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just noticed that it was, I was just curious. I was curious about the color. Something just drew me to that. And I felt like I want to know more. And that really was such a, not only beautiful story, but like touching story. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I enjoyed giving it. Yeah. That's also a great example of that you can use talking in either way. I can be talking for me, or I can be talking for you. In that case, I was talking for you, but I also enjoy it. And then you asked me.
Okay. So this is, what would you like me, oh wait, no wait, I asked you, what would you like me to do for you?
Yeah.
Oh, what would you like me to do for you?
Yeah. How do you feel about singing? Are you comfortable singing?
Let me see.
Only if you're comfortable with it. Some people aren't.
I could sing. I'm sure a lot of people are going to see this.
Wait, I know. Can you sing with an air guitar?
I'm in that yes and no stage. I'm like the lady with the scales.
Yeah. Well, then really ponder it carefully.
Yeah, let me see. I'm intrigued by the air guitar, but the singing, I don't think I could commit to that. So I'm going to say no to that.
Okay, let me think of what else. I mean, so is the air guitar yes, but not the singing, or the whole thing's a no?
The air guitar could be a work.
Okay,
yeah, it could work.
Let's do that. So I and you can make whatever noise or gesture. Okay. Yeah, what I actually want to see is just like really going for it. I guess it's this way, really doing the things.
Okay. We had 2 minutes of this.
Yeah.
Yes, I could do that. I could do that.
Terrific.
Do that, and I'm going to stand up for this one because my guitar is heavy.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Can you change to a violin now?
Okay, yeah.
That's great. Give 15 seconds. Thank you. Oh, thank you. That was so
Oh.
fun. I had no idea I would ask for that.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was just
I
like
didn't-
this burst of delight that came up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I noticed that I was that that it was your offer was for you, and when you asked me, it was intriguing to hear. Oh wait, she wants me to do this, and yet there was also a playful side to me that thought, okay, I could do this if you want to see it, and your laughter really helped. It reminded me who was it for. So you're
Yeah.
welcome for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
So this was a great example of, and this is what this whole webinar thing is about, is that it's a great example of who is doing is a different factor than who it's for. And when Jojo was doing his rowing practice, it was for him and I was witnessing. When Jojo was doing the air guitar, it was for me and he was giving me that gift. So the same dynamics can play out in touch, of course, but here on video, it's a different thing. So thank you very much for taking the time to come back and make this, and hopefully they'll be able to splice it in.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Betty.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay. This whole practice is actually about saying yes and no and setting a limit, and that you'd be right about that. It is. So please do not add this workshop to your list of things that you have done that you didn't really want to do. That's against the rules.
Yes, sorry, Betty.
Yes.
One quick thing. I imagine that also during the experience, you can find out that you have a limit. Like maybe you said yes, and then you're having the experience and you get to a no. So it would be
Perfect.
good then to be able to say that. And if you
Absolutely.
can say it in advance, like, as if I find a limit, I will say it.
Yes,
Something like that.
absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I should have brought it up myself. You can change your mind at any time, or you might notice, oh, you know what? I thought I was going to be okay with this, but I'm not okay with this. So I changed my mind. I'm not willing to do this. And being able to change our minds is a really important part of consent. If you can't change your mind, it's not really consent, is it? Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because sometimes we're in the middle of something before we realize, I'm actually not okay with this. Yeah, beautiful. Other questions or thoughts? Okay. We're going to take a 10-minute break. And please be back here in your seats by 10 minutes. Set your clock for 8 minutes. And then come back, and then we'll divide up into rooms and play with this. Okay? See you in 8 minutes. If you are in a room with a live actual person, then you might want to consider doing this with the person that you're in the room with instead of going into a breakout room. I'll leave that up to you. So you're going to be taking turns asking these 2 questions. You're going to be noticing, is this a gift that I can give with a full heart? And what it is that I actually want to ask for, is this a gift that I can give with a full heart? And so it's an experiment in noticing, oh, it's my turn. It's for what I want. Can I notice what I want? Do I trust that it's okay to ask for that? Can I ask for it? So when it's your turn, and can I receive that? So when it's your turn to notice, oh, it's your turn. Like, this is for me, this is what I want. And then when you switch and it's the other person's turn and you will be giving, then you get to notice, oh, can I say no? Can I set a limit? Do I have any boundaries? Is this a gift that I can give with the full heart? Is it something that I thought I could give, but now it turns out that I am not comfortable giving it? So now can I say no? And the advantage of playing with this in a relatively safe place is that it's not going to be terribly sexy. We're all going to keep our clothes on. It's over in 3 minutes. So if it's too much, you can of course stop before 3 minutes. But if you get confused, it'll be over soon. So you can reset. That you're not going to actually be touching anybody, except maybe yourself. So the way to learn how to take turns is to take baby steps. And so that's what we're doing. We're taking short, easy turns to see what you notice. What do you notice about yourself when it's your turn? And what do you notice about yourself when it's the other person's turn? And can you tell the difference? It might not be clear, but hopefully it will be. Okay? Any other questions? Cool.
Who's timing it?
Daniela is timing it, and
Okay.
she will be sending you messages that you will get while you're in your room that say, person 1 asked this question, person 2 asked this question. Okay? All right, push the magic button. See you all back here in a little while. So we have about 15 minutes. What did you notice in your experience? In particular, any noticings about asking for what you want, or noticing that each of those was a different dynamic? Who was doing was not always who it's for. Sometimes you're doing for you, sometimes you're doing for the other person. Sometimes you were watching for yourself, sometimes you were watching for the other person. And anything you noticed about saying no or giving those gifts or whatever. And if you'll raise your hand, that would be helpful, although I may not be able to see it, so you may have to speak up if I don't call on you. Yes, Anna.
Hi. I realized something beautiful happened to me when I was asking for what I wanted. I asked for something that just came for, this is what I need right now. And then afterwards, I realized that it was quite something what I was asking for, that it was putting the other person in a quite vulnerable place. But I didn't realize in advance. And that was very good for me, because I realized, and then she set a partial limit. Like, it's okay for me to talk about it, but not to do it, which I understood completely. And what was good for me is I realized that many times I don't ask if I'm already imagining that it's too much for the other person.
Yeah.
But it's much more genuine to say, this is what I want, and I trust that you set your limits. But that's
Beautiful.
a trust that I didn't grow up with.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Does this ring bells for other people? Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I saw a hand here, Desert Rose.
So I found that as I was doing for the other person, I actually was more tuned into, I'm enjoying this. And so I did it more for me, but I found that his response was kind of like egging me on. So I could tell that he was enjoying it too. So it's the synergy of going back and forth.
Yeah.
And at first I hesitated about asking for what I wanted him to witness because he was very young. And I showed him a nude torso of me and I thought, oh, go for it.
Great.
It turned out quite well.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. I saw another hand here. iPhone. You with dark hair, you're leaning against the couch.
Yes,
can't
that's
see
me.
your
I'm
name.
sorry. I need to put
Yeah.
my name. Hi, my name is Bielka.
Hi, Bielka.
Hi. I was expecting when he was gonna ask me to do something. I was like, oh no, he's gonna ask for something sexual. My mind went there, so I was predisposed to say no. And well, and I was not gonna be able to do it because of physical limitations that I have. What he requested, which was dance. And then I lessened my barrier of being asked something that I was not gonna do by asking him, can you do something instead, just stretching. And it was so much fun because we became playful and the fear of being sexual dissipated. So it was nice to say my no. And when I said my no, I felt guilty because I was like, oh, but he's a nice person. Why should I say no? But I didn't feel it. And then when we both engaged in something that we enjoy, we were rolling on our backs on the floor. I had so much fun. I was like, oh my God, let's be friends forever. It was great. So it was definitely a lot of yes, no, no, yes, until I found full yes in both of us, it looked like.
Great. Yeah, that's the power of negotiating. You find that you find something that you're both a full yes for. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Margot.
Hi. What a few things struck me, and one was to be able to commune with someone in a whole different country. I'm in the USA, she was in Brussels. To commune with someone that was a lot younger than me, and observe where I am now after many years of repetition and being available to step out front and watching her at a younger age and experience, not quite sure. And one of the best parts was when she asked me to dance. And that's one of the things I've been doing for decades. And in my mind, I'm thinking, are you sure? Because the music will come on and I won't stop until the end of the song. And so I was being pleasured as giving her the gift of what she asked for. So I so appreciate Zoom, it's so global. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes when we are giving a gift, it's really fun and wonderful. That's terrific. That's a bonus. But it doesn't mean it's for us. But it's perfectly fine to enjoy giving it. Hell yes. It can be fabulously fun. And sometimes it's not so much fun. Sometimes it's not really so much fun, but we're willing to do it because we care about the other person. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Other noticings and ahas from this experience or questions that came up? Anybody else that I'm missing? Just go ahead and speak up. Yes.
Minyoung Cho has a question. She wrote in the chat.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Question. Well, I try with my wonderful partner so many new things. Who is doing and who is for? Do I have to take only who is for side? Is it okay to take both of who is doing and who is for? I'm going to try to answer this. When we did the exercise, there was 2 times that you were doing. One time you did, it was for them, and one time you did, it was for you. So that's the difference. You can do for them or you can do for you. Yeah. And so who it's, and there was 2 times that it was for you. One time it was for you and they were doing. Another time it was for you and you were doing. So who it's for and who it's doing are 2 different factors. And they overlap. They overlap like this. Yeah? Yeah. So if you can see this on my website and on the videos about the wheel of consent. They overlap like this. So I'm doing for me, I'm doing for you, you're doing for you, you're doing for me, or somewhere. Anyway, so that you have 4 different things that happened. Originally, the wheel of consent was developed around touch. I touch you the way you want, or I touch you the way I want. And what's the difference? You touch me the way you want, or you touch me the way I want. What's the difference? Yeah, yeah. What's the reason for the order of the questions? It doesn't matter. You can ask them in either order. You could have one person ask both questions and then the other person ask both questions, or you could do it the way we did it, or you could reverse it, or you could ask one question today, another question tomorrow. The order doesn't matter.
I have a question.
Yes.
While I was giving to my partner, I was enjoying it. What should I do with my feeling of enjoying what I'm giving, of receiving what I'm giving?
You get to enjoy it as much as you enjoy it, but it doesn't mean that you are receiving. It just means you're enjoying it. Wave to me. I can see who's talking.
I'm here. Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Enjoying is a different question than receiving. You can enjoy anything, even if you're alone. Doesn't mean you're receiving. Receiving means something that you want and you ask for, and the other person says yes and gives you that. They say yes, they take what they want and put it on the shelf and go with what you want. That's what receiving is, receiving a gift. But you can enjoy anything. You can enjoy receiving, you can enjoy giving, you can enjoy doing neither, you can enjoy being alone. So pleasure doesn't tell you whether you're giving or receiving. It just tells you it's pleasurable.
Okay, can I take it step ahead?
Yes, yes.
If while I was giving, I felt like I was receiving, what I'm doing with this?
I'd say just play with it some more and see what you notice. It could be that when you say, I feel like I'm receiving, it could be that what you mean is I'm enjoying it. Or it could mean that you feel like the other person is giving you something. Just experiment with it. Most people, when they learn this, we usually teach it with touch. It takes a number of times before it starts to click. That's fine. It's in a practice. That means you come back to it again and again and again over the years. and next week you'll find something new, and then the week after that you'll find something new. 5 years down the road you'll find something new. So just keep playing with it, see what you notice. Yeah, but it's a very common question you're asking. Hari Kirtan, you have a question?
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
My question is somewhat similar to the previous person, because in many workshops they teach the wheel of consent. And for me, it was also confusing, this separation. I wonder from where you derive this notion that we only receive when we specifically ask for it. Because in my experience in the exercise, at least once, it was that when I asked something and the person did it, I didn't feel like I received anything from it. It was just boring and plain and like nothing. But when the person was actually kind of taking, I felt like I was receiving, because it was surprising, it was joyful. So there was much more receiving, like actual receiving, in being able to be taken, kind of, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So the whole concept felt kind of artificial or overlapping, or like, so I was, like.
That's a great question. Again, you're confusing receiving with enjoying. What you're saying is that you were enjoying it. When we give someone a gift, we take what we want, we put it on the shelf, and we go with what they want. So when we are receiving, the other person is putting their desire on the shelf, and they come with they do what we want. That's how I'm defining receive and give. You can enjoy any of them. Enjoying doesn't mean receiving.
Like, I just wonder from where this definition comes, because in my experience, it's not like this. Simply, like, I wonder why it cannot coincide. Like, why the person has to put aside something in order to give something, and why does it have to be in conflict? Why we cannot both receive by just doing what is joyful for us?
Because no one is putting aside what they want. And here's the secret. This is a practice in taking, receiving, and giving apart. It does not replace life. It does not replace play. It does not replace lovemaking. It's a practice, just like yoga or meditation. What happens when I only receive and give nothing back? What happens for me? Can I do that? What do I learn about myself when I do that? What is difficult about that? And what is healing about that? What happens when I only give and take nothing back? Can I do that? What is liberating about it? What is hard about it?
Mm.
So it's a practice, because when you take them apart, you have experiences that are possible no other way. You have experiences when you're receiving that you cannot have if you're also giving.
Mm.
That's why we do it. Do you want to live your life that way? Probably not. I don't. Most of the time in our lives, we're doing neither. We're sort of dancing and playing in the middle.
I see.
Your experience of receiving where you felt like you weren't receiving, it's probably because it's not what you actually wanted. And we've all done that. Like, okay, will you rub my shoulders? And then it's not what I really want. And so it's not really fun. We've all done that. But the problem is not the shoulder rub. The problem is I haven't said, actually, will you do it this way? Or actually, would you do this instead? Or I don't want that, do this. And when you can hone your skill of noticing what you want and asking for it, then it lands. And most people who learn this, learn it in some other workshop, and that's fine. And you might get it, you might not, it doesn't matter. But for most people, it takes going through it 3 or 4 times before it really clicks. And then you go, oh, that's what I actually wanted. Oh, it feels different. Now I get it, because it's what I actually wanted. Yeah. And it takes some playing around with it.
So it's more like a therapeutic tool in a sense.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. It's also just a hell of a lot of fun. Like, you can use it as a spiritual practice. You can use it as a therapeutic tool. You can use it as a fun, sexy game. You can play it with your children as a way to find out what they want and play with them. And you can use it in many different ways.
Okay.
And come back to it again and again and just see what you find. It's an experiment.
Okay. Yeah. I just wonder if there would be still a bit of time today, since you came up with this system, as I understand, if you would feel maybe even very, very briefly to share how you came up with it, or what was it about. I don't know if it's a proper time now, but like, since so many people seem to do this wheel of consent, it would be curious to hear like what's actually.
I will be happy to do that, but we're going to close here and let people go who don't want to hear that, and then I'll stay a little over. And we have one more person, Vin, and then we will close, and I'll come back and answer that question.
I don't know, Victoria, I think, wanted also to say something, but I go first. So I noticed my breakup partner, like at some point was in a more heightened emotional state. So when I was asking her to do something, I was asking her to do stretching. So I guess I thought it would help her to ground and like be more, I don't know, feel better. And she did it. And I did enjoy it a lot. But then as an afterthought, I was like, was I receiving or was I giving in that moment?
Good question. Yeah. Good question and good noticing. And you probably were trying to do some of both, but when you come back to it again next time, see if you can be completely selfish and not take care of the other person. And then there's something else to learn. That's why it's a practice, because you just keep experimenting over and over. Mm-hmm. And it's looked like we had one more and then we'll quit. Did you say, Victoria?
I noticed, I had the good experience that before we did it, I thought I'm going to ask the person to sing because I felt like being sung to. And it so happened that my partner asked to be witness singing. So when he was doing the singing, I was very aware that I was witnessing him. So I was giving the witnessing. And then when it came my turn to ask for what I wanted, which was actually for him to carry on with the song, halfway through, I suddenly became aware of this very subtle change in the energy, that I was totally free to absolutely enjoy the song because it was for me.
Yes.
And I didn't have to perform or listen or make sure he knew that he was being witnessed. There was nothing for me to do but receive. Same song, same voice, 2 totally different experiences. So the subtlety of this work is incredible and very exciting.
Yeah, beautiful. Great example to close on. The exact same activity, if it's for you or for them, it just is different. Yeah, beautiful. So it's time to close. Thank you all for your patience with our technology. And I guess this is the first event in this whole series, and I imagine that we'll probably iron things out. I hope we will. And bettymartin.org is where you can find some more about this. And thank you all for joining us. I enjoyed meeting you. And hallelujah. And I'm going to stay on and answer this other question if you want to hear that. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, what was the question? I think it was Hari Kirtan.
Yeah. The question was, since you came up with this system, maybe if you would feel like to tell a little bit how you came up with it and what was it meant for, like a bit more theory,
Sure.
because the exercises, okay, everybody pretty much similar, in a similar fashion, repeat them. But it would be curious to hear more in depth, maybe from where it came and something like.
Sure. How long do you have? I'll keep it to a few minutes. Years ago, I took a workshop. This was probably 30 years ago. I took a workshop with the Body Electric School. And then I took a bunch of more workshops. And at one workshop, we learned this game called the 3-minute game. And it was developed by a man named Harry Faddis, who is one of the teachers at that time. And this game consisted of 2 questions, which are very similar to the questions I gave you. What do you want me to do to you for 3 minutes? And what do you want to do to me for 3 minutes? This was a game, the workshop was about power and surrender. And so this game was fabulously fun. I thought, oh my gosh, this is really way fun. When this person asked me, what do you want to do to me for 3 minutes? I just thought, hell yeah, I can do this and I can do that. No, this sounds so fun. And what do you want me to do to you for 3 minutes? I said, oh yeah, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And so those 2 questions, I noticed immediately it was either my turn or it was their turn. It was either something that I wanted or it was something that they wanted. And I already knew how to take turns because I had been peer counseling for 30 years, which is taking turns listening. So I knew how to have it be my turn. And I knew how to have it be the other person's turn. I already knew that. And now here's was a chance to play with it with touch. And it was obvious. And then I took it home to play it with my clients. I was starting to do sacred intimate work. And I would ask my clients that, and I noticed the question was too big. So I narrowed the question to, how do you want me to touch you for 3 minutes? And how do you want to touch me for 3 minutes? And that was a narrower, was more useful question for us. And I was explaining it to someone one day, and I said, look, it's like a mathematical matrix. It's 2 different factors. Who is doing is a different question than who it's for. Because I might be doing and it's for you, or I might be doing and it's for me. So that's 2 different things. So it just became obvious, this matrix. And I thought that once I drew that out, it would be obvious to everyone, but I found out that it's not. And it took me a while to understand that the reason it's not is because most people have a hard time telling who it's for. Like, is this for me or is this for you? And so I gradually learned why that was and how to teach it. And that's what developed. So the wheel of consent, the diagram, is a diagram of what happens when 2 people play the 3-minute game. That's really all it is. It so happens that it applies to a lot of other areas of life, but that's where it came from. It came from asking those 2 questions.
Can I ask just
We're
just
gonna get kicked out.
Or we're going to get kicked out? Okay.
Yeah, because there's another class in here, so I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
is there an email to ask questions or something?
There is on Facebook. There's a group called Wheel of Consent. It's a public group, and you'll join there. It's automatic, and you can ask all these questions there. There's a lot of other people who are interested in this.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Betty.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Daniela. I
Yeah.
can't wait to come and train with you. I've paid. I'm just waiting for COVID to be over. I'm so bloody
Thank
excited
you.
to meet you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You're so welcome.